Everyone. Thanks for joining me today. This is our first session of our What's New in Summon and 360 webinar series for February of 2024. It's reflecting what's in these applications for the quarterly release that is going out the door on February 7th. I'm going to ask you to put any questions you have into the Q&A section of the WebEx application, and I will circle back to any questions that you have after I'm done presenting my content. So what do we want to talk about today? Our agenda looks like this. First of all, we are going to review the release calendar for 2024, give you a heads up of the pertinent dates for our applications. I want to review some of the recent enhancements that we've done for Summon, CDI, and 360 and Entoda. And then we're going to dive into the details of the Summon February release features, followed by the 360 and Entoda February release features, and talk a little bit more afterwards about community engagement opportunities and additional webinars and meetings that are coming up. So the 2024 release dates for Summon and 360 and Entoda applications look like the following. As I mentioned, our first quarterly release is coming up on February 7th. That is a week from Wednesday. And there is no preview environment for this release for Summon on February 7th. So we did not release that early on. Our next quarterly release is going to be May 1st. The preview will be delivered on April 17th. The third quarterly release is going to be August 7th, with the preview available on July 24th. The final quarterly release of 2024, if you can think ahead that far, is going to be November 6th, with a preview release date of October 23rd. And these dates will be posted to the Knowledge Center so that you can refer to these. As a reminder, and as I've just reviewed, the Summon and its attendant 360 and Entoda applications, they have the same quarterly release dates. So that first column there is when all of our new features and enhancements and resolutions will be delivered. Summon maintenance releases will continue to occur on the first Wednesday of all other months. And those maintenance releases that are outside of our quarterly feature releases do not have preview environments. So let's talk about our recent Summon, CDI, and 360 and Entoda enhancements. And I'm going to be referring back to largely the second half of 2023 with an emphasis on the last quarter. So as you can see, we have accomplished a lot of work in that time frame. Much of it was for NERS candidates, and those are indicated here with the NERS badge next to them. Within Summon, we added the ability to display 5XX notes within the quick look. We have introduced normalized subject headings in CDI. So normalized subject headings based on LCSH and MESH are available for display in Summon at this time. We have passed a language parameter from Summon to 360 Link to maintain the accuracy of the language within the 360 Link application when going from Summon to 360 Link. We introduced within Summon search scopes, and in the latter half of 2023, we provide better identification and communication of what those scope components are doing, so the user understands when selecting something or dismissing a particular scope, how that affects their user experience. In a big project for CDI last year, we improved open access handling and added on paywall as an indexed collection. You will continue to see improvements on our open access handling and how we deal with some of that content as we roll into 2024 and get good feedback and experience from all of you. We within with the Q4 release, we prevented the ebook and computer file records from merging during the match and merge process. And last year, we also introduced secondary resource types as a further indication of the content that users are viewing and what it means to them, whether it might be a primary source or whether it was a retracted publication and things of that nature. On the 360 side, we included open access indicators in the management reports. So all that good information you can see about open access within the application is now also viewable within those downloadable managed reports. We rolled out auto holdings management with Taylor and Francis. That is, of course, is part of a longstanding NERS project to expand auto holdings to as many providers as possible. And knock on wood, happy to say that Taylor and Francis has been going swimmingly. We also are allowing Entoda users to log in directly to Summit usage statistics from the Entoda homepage without having to have additional management security options. Of course, on the 360 side and Entoda side, we deliver monthly linker refinements and updates. That's throughout the year, but we want to reassure you that that is always continuous work and something that we focus on as being part of the primary library's objective of connecting users with content. Data quality improvement and rights processing, the speed with which rights are delivered, and the quality of the data that we can provide within CDI, always top of mind, and continuous project and room for improvements. And of course, we have ongoing accessibility improvements based both on VPAT analyses that we complete for our applications and also on feedback from users. We do get a variety of cases open to us that expose things that maybe we hadn't seen or that our testing hadn't picked up on, and we do address those as soon as possible. And that's everything from Summon to 360 to Entoda to Ulrich's Web. So that's what the second half of 2023 looks like. Let's talk about what's in the February release. We're going to go ahead and start with some Summon release highlights. The first of which is Summon and Canvas LTI integration project. That has been ongoing since last year, and we're kind of putting the finishing touches on it. And hope to see some Canvas users really get into it and provide some feedback to us. The notes notes are now searchable from a new field in the Summon Advanced search. So there was some discussion on the list about notes. This is another mitigation effort that we have made to make searching notes more approachable and easier for users. We are auto-enabling quick links within Summon. Don't worry, don't flip out about this. I will give you more information about this in just a minute in more details. We'll get to that in a second. We are also rolling out auto holdings management for Springer Nature for both e-journals and ebooks. So that's, as I mentioned before, kind of part of that ongoing NERS project of expanding auto holdings to other providers. A bit about the Summon Canvas LTI integration. This is a way to integrate Canvas, which is a library management system, or LMS, and the and Summon. So what is LTI? LTI is a learning tools interoperability. That's a standard that LMSs use to talk to remote platforms. So from within an LMS like Canvas, you can set up a handshake, if you will, so that the two platforms can talk to each other. That integration does require a handshake. So, Canvas has to set up has to know about your Summon instance, and then you have to tell Summon about your Canvas instance. And the net result of that is that your users aren't going to have to authenticate into two different systems. So much of this is going to be happening within the Canvas application. And I'm going to let you know ahead of time, that means that there won't be a lot of documentation on the Ex Libris side for how to make this work beyond what we can show you how to do to set up that handshake or interoperability. But the workflows that we know will be available from within Canvas is that a Canvas administrator can set up Summon as an app that is available to course instructors. And that is the Canvas vocabulary. So it's an application that would be available to someone else, or sorry, that would be available to someone within that application. From within Canvas, an instructor who is, leading, who is putting together a course, can link to the library's base Summon URL, and they can also put in a bookmark to a specific record in Summon, or add a Summon search URL. What does that mean for a student or a researcher? Is that course participant from within Canvas, from that LMS, can access the content from either that bookmark or that Summon search URL and be navigated into Summon as an already authenticated user, because we have the handshake from Canvas saying, yes, we know who this user is. We know what your remote platform Summon is. Therefore, this user is entitled to view, to click through to the content. So that user would not be stopped and be asked to, say, log into your Easy Proxy system. So those are what the big workflows look like. How are you going to configure this on the Summon side? Remember, I said this is two pieces. So there's the Canvas side where you have to get some of these values, but within Summon in the customizer, there's a new section within settings called LTI. And you can see here the list of fields that you're going to need. They are all required. It's an issuer ID, a client ID deployment, public key set URL, access token URL, and authentication request URL. So those are the pieces that Summon is going to need to know about. Next up, let's talk about the advanced search page. There is now a new notes search field that you can enable for users specifically to search for notes. There is currently a way to specify a note search from the basic search, and that's prefixing it with a note syntax. One of the inspirations behind this project is that, as we discussed on the listserv, I think last week or the week before, we had to remove notes from the default keyword search. They were causing some conflicts and some confusion amongst users. So we had to actually remove those from the default keyword search, but we want to make sure that users can search for notes metadata, either from the simple search with that note syntax, or from the advanced search which you can see here in this screenshot. So the two options that will be available once this is enabled is that you can search for notes in all words anywhere, which is, you know, a contained search essentially, and you can also do an exact match. The way to set up this notes field is to go into the existing customizer, settings, and then advanced search interface, and you can drag over use drag and drop to add notes to the enabled field, as you can see here. And that will make that appear on the advanced search tab. Our next thing that we want to highlight is auto enablement of quick links in Summon. This is kind of a two-parter, right? First of all, quick links have been available in Summon for a couple of years, but not everyone has enabled them. And that could be for a couple of reasons. Some folks don't know yet about quick links and their high success rate in linking, the clarity with which users are able to see content, how content is available, and that it's available through one click. Or maybe you have another scheme enabled within Summon, and you know, for whatever reason, maybe it's a libkey option or something similar, and you've elected not to enable quick links. But we believe so strongly that the 99% linking accuracy rate to these 1.5 billion records is really beneficial to users, that we are rolling out in phases an auto enable parameter for these. So what's going to happen? In February, we are rolling out a parameter that says we will auto enable. You know what? I'm just going to flip to the next slide here so you can see it. So on the screenshot here, you can see a new parameter that's going to be in settings, search results, and it's called auto activate quick links May 2024. This will appear in your customizer on February 7th when the release goes out, but it's not going to do anything. Okay? So February, March, April, nothing is going to happen. You have that time to think about this option. You have the time to talk to colleagues about it. You have the time to test it out if you'd like. But we're giving you this ramp up time in order to make that decision. As I said, we think that this is a really, really strong feature, and we want folks to know about it and turn it on if they haven't already considered it. Okay, so the parameter, the default value is on. If you already have turned on quick links, you don't have to do a thing. Just leave this. Nothing is going to happen to you. If you have not already turned on quick links, again, nothing's going to happen for 3 months until the release in May. This is information only. Once the May release goes live, quick links are going to be turned on if this parameter's value is on. Quick links will be disabled if you go in at any time between February 7th and the May release and turn the parameter off. I expect that there will be some questions coming up in the chat. I'm going to try to preempt them and let you know that you never have to turn on quick links if you don't want to. If your library has evaluated this feature and decided, you know what, it's not for us, then you don't have to turn it on. You can turn it off now, you can turn it off next week, or at any point. You can even enable quick links after the May release and then opt out of it. You never have to have this turned on, but we want to encourage folks to really test this out because it is such an easy and fantastic feature for users to just be able to see a one-click option to the PDF and HTML content for, you know, like I said, 1.5 billion records from some 50 providers, and a list that we're always adding to. For 360 and Entoda users, we have an exciting new feature that we're rolling out, and that's auto holdings management with Springer Nature. This is, once again, a great feature that enables enables a system to automatically exchange holdings information or subscribe titles with a provider, and saves you time and effort because you don't have to go in there and manually subscribe to something or activate something. This happens on a weekly basis. It's currently scheduled to occur on Saturdays, North American time. So similar to Taylor and Francis, it's going to occur over the weekend. It's all standards based. It's the KBART automation standard for exchanging subscribed titles or holdings information. And it's available for, unlike other providers that we have worked with, it's available for both ebooks and e-journals. So what does that configuration look like? There are 2 dedicated databases within the 360 KB. The first is a Springer Online Journals, which is database code SOJ. The Springer Books Online database is code SBO. And on the database details page, you will have the option to enter in a token that Springer Nature will provide to you, as long as once you have a library account set up with them, they will give you, I think it's a 16-character long code, and you plug it into the database details page after you've set the database coverage to we only subscribe to some titles within this database, or in Entoda speak, only selected titles. Okay, and what does that look like? On the left, you have 360 Client Center. There is a new field there that says auto holding settings, and there's a space or a field for you to enter a token value. On the right, you see the similar or the analogous page for Entoda. This is in the About section on the database details page. It's automate holdings, and again, you put your token into that field. That will invoke the auto holdings process that occurs over the weekend, and we will go out. We reach Springer Nature's API endpoint. We use that token to authenticate and get a file back of your holdings and update the respective database. So that's a really exciting feature that we're happy to roll out for 360 and Entoda users. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the 2024 roadmap. In 2 weeks, there are going to be a couple of webinars, similar times as scheduled for this quarterly release webinar. Excuse me. What is this going to look like? We've got a lot of great NERS candidates. We haven't completely settled on the list, but indicators are good that the ones that you see listed here are going to be included there. The first, which was part of it, is the ability to export in bulk lists. Currently, there's a limit to how many results you can export, but we are going to be bumping that up and allow you to do, a really big download of citations. The other NERS candidates are giving ahead of print citations and Summit a status of citation online, making the saved items folder permanent once a user authenticates, changing the order of the content types on the sidebar of the results page, full title, displaying the full title of a search result when you mouse over it. That's especially important for screen sizes of smaller resolution, and looking at some facet scrolling improvements. We also want to do some LTI refinements. We know that once things get out in the field, we are going to need to iterate over those and make some improvements and extend this to other LMS applications. LTI is a standard. It is not limited to Canvas. I probably should have said that earlier. We are simply starting with Canvas because I believe that is where the request came in the NERS project. Or the original improvement request. So it is something that it will be extensible to other applications. Excuse me. I mentioned the normalized subject headings rolling out last year. This normalized kind of, the backstory here is that we get all kinds of subject headings from providers, from different sources, from aggregators. It's kind of a wild west of subject headings. What we wanted to do was deduplicate them, kind of normalize them against a controlled vocabulary. We did that with LCSH and MESH. And of course, now that we've got it in the hands of experts, we're getting a lot of great feedback. And there are some things that we will want to do some refinements on in early 2024 based on that feedback and based on what makes sense for our user community and how folks use those subject headings. We'll also be looking at better identifying book reviews, so distinguishing between books and books reviews. We know how frustrating it can be when a user thinks they're accessing an ebook, but instead they come up with a book review. And we'll also, as I mentioned earlier, be looking at improving open access handling. It was a great idea, and we're so glad that we did put on paywall content into a single collection. And we've also have open access data coming in from other sources. However, because it's not that open access data isn't necessarily controlled by any one publisher or provider, there are some idiosyncrasies with the data, whether that's content type or language, or even sometimes if the open access indicator is incorrect, or maybe the indicator only applies to a certain part of a resource. So we're learning new things as we go. You're reporting them to us, and we're definitely taking steps towards making that work better. So those are some of the things that we see coming down the road. I mentioned that there will be a roadmap webinar where I kind of round out the Summon and CDI and 360 and Entoda projects and assign some target dates to them so that you can know what to expect in those quarterly releases this year. Here they are listed, the 2024 roadmap webinars. So February 13th and February 14th for Americas and EMEA. And as a reminder, since it's the beginning of the year, it's never too early to plug these things and start planning for them. The Luna annual meeting is occurring in Minnesota this year from May 14th to the 17th. And the Igloo annual meeting is occurring from September 9th through the 12th. And as events get posted by both of these organizations, we will link to them in our webinars so that any education that's coming out and anything of interest, topics of interest that we think that you should know about, we will continue to share them with you. So that's what I wanted to share, and I am going to now switch over to the Q&A. And the first question, will the LTI work in LMSs other than Kansas? Eric, there is no reason it shouldn't, but given that each LMS is going to have different configuration needs, we will have to investigate those requirements and apply them probably in the Summon customizer page as necessary. If you have suggestions or requests for for LMSs that you would like to see us approach, I mean, we have a pretty good idea of what they are, but if you feel strongly excuse me, about those LMSs that we should approach, do let me know that. That was the only question in Q&A, but let me switch over to chat. same question in chat. So those are the only two questions that I had coming out here. Feel free to put more in the chat right now if you'd wish. Otherwise, my email address is displayed here. I am the product manager for both CDI and the interim for Summon. So I'm going to be with you for all of this year. And feel free to reach out to me at any point. That said, I don't see any other questions coming in. I'd like to thank you for giving me your time today. I hope that what we've presented looks exciting and useful to you. Thanks for being our customers. Couldn't do it without you. Your suggestions to the ideas exchange, your participation on NERDS, your participation on the working group are all appreciated, and any and all feedback that you provide is really valuable. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to working with you more. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.